What is up, my conscious family? I am OnenO. Welcome back to my blog. Today we are unpacking the subject of sexuality versus spirituality. Do they coexist? Can they coexist? And if they do, how? How do they coexist? Now, first of all, we should just make the statement that the subject of this video is coming from a Christian perspective. And what I mean by that is that Christianity, I've grown up as a Christian, though as I've gotten older, I've expanded my belief system much wider than the typical Christian box. But Christianity has given me a complex of how to harmonize my sexual desires and my sexual passions with the idea of being spiritual, being a spiritually based human. It seems like specifically Christianity has contributed these complexes to our collective mind of what it means to be sexually active and spiritual. In the church, there's a lot of talk about sex in very limiting forms. Usually the idea of sexuality is connected to marriage, and that if you have sex outside of marriage, either in the sense of being unmarried or in the sense of cheating on your marriage, both of those are considered wrong. Now, obviously, I do think that cheating on your spouse is entirely wrong, horrible. But in the other sense, the idea that if you're not married, you're just a single person, and even if you're dating somebody but you're not married, that you should not be having sex. And then the connotation that comes onto that is that sexuality is something that is horribly dysfunctional in the human being. And this kind of ties back to the Adam and Eve story, and it ties back to a lot of biblical interpretations of sexual energy being bad, somehow wrong for you, somehow something that God did not design for you. But yet, to just follow it to its conclusion as the church preaches it, that sexuality is wrong unless you're married, and then it's okay. And then at that point, sexuality falls into a do not discuss kind of category. And so you can see at no point in our conversation here have we actually resolved the idea of sexuality being a spiritual expression. And so that's why I got to a certain point in my journey where when I became exposed to more belief systems out there and just more trains of thought, like when I got into yoga, when I got into the Hindu idea of the chakra system and the energetic system, and the idea of Kundalini energy is basically sexual energy. Kundalini energy is literally the creative principle, the creative force, the prana that moves through us is becoming expressed as Kundalini energy, which then is a sexual type energy that is creative in nature. It is the creative force of nature itself, is the Kundalini energy. And it flows through every human being. So again, at this point, the idea of Kundalini energy being the creative sexual energy that we all have within us, when you use that creative energy, that is what you use in order to manifest in the world. And I mean anything. Whether you're a musician like myself and you're making a song, that is utilizing your sexual creative energy in the form of a song. I'm giving life. I'm creating a song. If you are a photographer, you're giving your sexual energy, your creative life force energy to take photos and create beautiful images. And the analogies are continuous. Basically what I'm trying to say is that your sexual energy is your creative energy. And it's the creative force of reality itself. It can all be boiled down to sexual energy. And that's not to say that sex is the thing that creates everything, but it's to say that sex is deeply connected with the creative principle, the creative force. So by that definition, sexuality should actually be seen as holy, because sexuality is the physical combining of my body with the body of my lover, and we are becoming one. Now, I do think it's important to point out at this point, I'm stuttering. It's important to point out at this part of our conversation that you can use sexuality in a negative way, but that's because this reality is set up on duality. You can perform anything for good or for bad. It all comes down to you and what you are choosing to do. So I'm not here to talk about all of the bad ways that you could use your creative energy. That is obvious, and it is my challenge to you to elevate yourself, to raise your vibration, and to use every tool that you have for good, for creating peace, love, and harmony upon the planet, starting in your own mind and body, and then continuing on to the relationships around you and eventually the world at large. So now let's connect these ideas of sexuality and spirituality. To me, they are one and the same when it comes in the form of expression. Your sexual energy is very vitally important to the health of your body and to the happiness of your being. That is obvious to me now at this point in my journey. And basically, when you harmonize your sexual energy with your partner, you have all of your chakras in alignment, you are clean energetically, you are focused on peace, love, and positivity, and then you find a partner that's in that same state. The two of you have the ability to join in a way that is unlike any other experience. It transcends the physical. It goes beyond just the physical expression of sex. It gets entirely into the nitty-gritty of having a spiritual companion. And when you harmonize your sexual energy with one another, you become powerful as a co-creative force. Because again, this reality is set up on duality. So we have the expression male and we have the expression female. When the masculine energy and the feminine energy combine, they create wholeness, they create coherence. They create something that is larger than either one in their isolated form. So when you perform the act of sex and you join with your partner in the act of sex, you are energetically speaking, you are energetically completing the circuit. Everything is now flowing as it should. So you are a powerful creative being. You can create things on your own. But when you join with your partner, what you co-create together will be larger and more amazing than anything you could create on your own. And that's true whether we're talking about having sex with your partner and you guys are now merging as an expression of love. But it's also true when we're talking about how to create in the world. You may not physically be having sex with the partners at your business, I sure hope you aren't, but energetically speaking, the creative act is coming from your sexual energy. It's coming from the creative life force principle that is within you, that expresses itself as sexuality, and it also expresses itself in a plethora of other ways, whether it's a song or a business adventure or something that you are manifesting in your life. It's coming from the creative life force principle within you, which also, mostly, you can see it very clearly, expressing itself as sexual energy. And so I guess to summarize, I want to eradicate this idea that if you are sexual and sexually active, that you cannot be spiritual at the same time, that they somehow contradict each other. But you see, it's my beliefs now that God created us complete. God did not create us dysfunctional. That's the word I'm looking for. God created us perfect. If there is any dysfunction in this reality, it is simply because we are not living in alignment. We're not living up to the purpose, the higher purpose that we have been created for. So if you want to live a life that is full of harmony when it comes to this subject, simply remember that you are created perfectly. You are created as an expression of divinity. And if sexuality was not divine, it would not be given to you. In the same way that if breathing was not divine, it would not be given to you. And if eating was not divine, it would not be given to you. We need all of these things in order to harmonize our bodies, our minds, our spirits, and to live the most authentic and fulfilled life. So harmonize your sexual life with your spiritual life. Find one way that you can merge these two in your own life, in your own relationships, and see sexuality with your partner as the playground to deepen your connection with one another beyond the physical. It's a physical expression that can transcend the limitations of your physical experience. And with that being said, leave a comment down below. Let me know how you connect with this subject. Do you think that sexuality is inherently evil? Let me know. I'd love to have a discussion with you, and maybe I'll make another video. Or do you think that sexuality is inherently beautiful and wonderful? Also leave a comment down below, and I'd love to pick your brain. So thanks for watching. Again, my name is OnenO. Like and subscribe. If you want to check out more of my videos, I'd be happy to see you there. And until I see you again along the journey, oneness in sound, I am OnenO. Peace, everybody.
Support OnenO on patreon.com and gain access to exclusive content.